Welcome back to Collecting Issues, where this episode we'll be taking a look at Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 1, collecting issues 1 to 6 of the 2024 Marvel series by Jonathan Hickman, Marco Checchetto, and David Messina. And Volume 2, The News, collecting issues 7 to 12 of the 2024 Marvel series from Jonathan Hickman, Marco Checchetto, and David Messina.
So the comic book education continues?
We're talking inappropriate comic books.
You're into comic books, aren't you?
That's comic book shit.
Like in the comic books.
Very good, that's it. Okay, there's no... And... Volume 3! No, it's not. It's
No,
only one.
fuck
It's only
off.
one and two.
We're doing
We
two,
only got
Michael.
so
12
much time.
issues is more than enough.
More than enough. Or is it? Is this a tasty snack, Benjamin? A light and delicate snack? Or is this a big epic? We'll find out. Welcome back to Collecting Issues, the monthly comic book club. Benjamin,
Yeah.
it's spoilers all through on this.
Oh.
This isn't a review as such. This is a book club, a comic book club.
An exploration.
I'm trying a new
Michael.
way of saying that.
An exploration. We're wading in the gutters of a comic book, Michael. We're just sloshing through. But we've been here before, Michael. We're revisiting, is what we're doing.
Yeah. Balls deep in comic books we are. So, Benjamin, in any ways, the listeners, what's wrong with you? What's wrong? Why did you like that?
False deep in comic books. I'm putting it on t-shirts, Michael. It's going out there.
Very good. Benjamin, so the listeners obviously will have already read Ultimate Spider-Man. Not the original Ultimate Spider-Man from the 2000s,
No.
but the new Ultimate Spider-Man, which, they could have given it a different name, but that's neither here nor there. So they've read Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Ultimate Spider-Man 2024 by Robert Kirkman, Jonathan Hickman, Phil Lamar, actor Phil Lamar. Look, this is more Ben's part. I just kind of taking a stab here. Ben,
Yeah.
they should have called it Ultimate Spider-Man 2024, The Death of Originality.
Yes, the fix a bunch of stuff that we didn't like in the last 30 years of Spider-Man
Yeah.
publishing.
Yeah, it's been 20 years since we had a good solid Spider-Man comic book reboot, so let's just give it another lash.
But let's not do it shit this time.
Let's not do it shit. Benjamin, now you bite your tongue. Ultimate Spider-Man, the 2000s
Yes.
Ultimate Spider-Man, was a great comic book series.
Yeah, so there's
It
a little bit
was.
of coattail riding, I think, when this was launched, in that the last great or stratospheric
Chumongous.
Spider-Man success.
No, humongous.
Humongous.
I
The last
believe is the word
humongous
you're gonna say.
Spider-Man success was
Yeah.
Ultimate Spider-Man, right? Brian Michael Bendis.
was it?
I can't remember the artist.
Mark Bagley.
Mark Bagley. And it's the early 2000s. It's Marvel.
Was it Mark Bagley or was it John Romita?
No, it's Mark Bagley. I think you're spot on. It's Mark Bagley. The name just wasn't coming to me, Michael, out of nowhere. But yeah, so this was a huge moment from 2000. So it was a millennium reboot. This is new Marvel for the new millennium. So 2000, coming off the Todd McFarlane 90s, and it was a palate cleanser, Michael. A breath of fresh air. A bloody sip in a desert of water.
And a moose bouche, Benjamin, a real palate cleanser. So I was a comic book reader around it, and Ultimate Spider-Man was great because you have to bear in mind about Ultimate Spider-Man and Spider-Man that Spider-Man's origin story was told in the 60s. And the early 2000s was before every Spider-Man was a Spider-Man origin story.
Yeah.
So this was, for most people, Spider-Man's origin, writ large, because it was Spider-Man's origin writ over the course of arcs now for the modern reader.
Yeah.
Not, let's blast his origin out in the first 6 pages so he can get to fighting a man made of water or a man made of sand or a man made of electricity. It was, here's the mythology of Spider-Man from 35 years ago at that point, told into a story. But Benjamin, we've talked about this comic book before on our other podcast, Listen, the podcast that takes us pop culture. And I said something very cutting and directed at you, but I think it is even more relevant having reread this again in this day and age. Look, Can I get into it? Because I think
Get
this is
into it,
relevant.
Michael. Get
I think
swinging.
this is relevant right from the start.
Get swinging.
So this is a 2024 reboot of sorts of Ultimate Spider-Man because it shares a continuity of continuity in a sense.
Yeah.
Where the maker, the evil Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe, has created this Ultimate. So in a way, it is still Ultimate Spider-Man. It is still that Ultimate Universe in a way.
Yeah.
Kind of, but also not entirely relevant. We read 12 issues of this, and you don't need to have read the modern Ultimates to get it.
My favorite bit about it is that you don't have to do that. There aren't.
But anyway, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, go on.
No, you go on.
Here's the thing. Spider-Man. He's a dweeby little 16-year-old.
He is.
He's got a bad haircut. He's got spectacles on.
He does.
He's parentless. He lives with his poor old withered aunt and uncle. And he's a real fucking dweeb.
Yeah. He's just
Spider-Man.
He's just a loser.
He's just a real little New York loser. And that's what the comic book audience was in the 1960s. The comic book audience of the 1960s was dweeby. Probably 16-year-olds might have even been too old.
Yeah, I think it's kids. I think it's...
Yeah, the market for this was kids who were on that track.
Yeah.
Dweeby 12-year-olds going, oh, this is what's going to happen to me. I'm not going to get to go to the Sadie Hawkins dance, which is the thing I only know about for American pop culture.
Yep.
But I'm not going to get to go because I'm a dweeb and I'm wearing a sweater vest and I've got spectacles on and I haven't got any muscles unlike Flash Thompson.
No muskeles.
And yeah, no, San Muskeles.
Yeah.
El Homo San Muskeles was the original name.
That was Spider-Man's
for this.
original name.
That was his original Spanish name. Fuck, that's bad. Hope that doesn't make the edit. But Benjamin,
Yeah.
so Spider-Man was a power fantasy for those dweeby little nerds. And every iteration of Spider-Man since then has been a power fantasy for dweeby little tween and teenage nerds.
Yes.
It got a little bit weird in the 2000s.
2007, a bad year for Spider-Man.
For example, they kept getting very fucking handsome, very charismatic, large, muscular adults to play Peter Parker. Which was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't going to stop that school bus for Tobey Maguire. They were going to keep driving and go, get out of here. Speed up.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be on this bus.
Yeah.
And then Andrew Garfield, Benjamin, ridiculous. 30-year-old Abercrombie model skateboarding around. He wasn't a nerdy.
He wasn't a
Peter
loser.
Parker.
He wasn't a loser.
No.
Quite a few people outside of Gwen Stacy fancied that man at the high school.
Right. Exactly. Have you ever seen him?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Amelia Deminda Mandelberg, whoever she is? Can't contain herself around him. So, in any ways, what am I talking about? This comic.
Sexy Andrew Garfield.
Sexy Andrew Garfield, you big bastard with your full head of hair.
Yes,
Sick
son
of
of a bitch.
Sick of him. I had a full head of hair when I was pretending to be 16, but that's a story for a different podcast. But Benjamin, we're nearly 8 minutes into this and we haven't got to the point. This comic book, Jonathan Hickman's 2024 Spider-Man Ultimate Spider-Man, he's back. This one is very much in recognition of the fact that the demographic for comic books has changed.
Yes.
And the demographic for comic books now is losers in their mid-30s who feel they haven't really achieved much with their lives.
Oh.
So, Benjamin, just apropos of nothing, I'll pass over to you now for comment.
Michael, in 2024, you cut me to the quick with that exact biting.
It's one of my best bits of work, to be honest.
And that, my opinion on that hasn't changed. You changed my mind then, and it stayed pretty much steady with that.
Yeah.
This is a 35-year-old power fantasy, which is actually fine in the grand tradition.
Of course, you would say that, wouldn't you?
It's
You would
fine.
just kind of have.
It's
It's
fine.
I love everything about my life. I'm happy. I've got a good job and a very nice relationship.
This is
I'm
fine.
not Spider-Man, though.
This is fine. I'm not as I didn't get bit and get jacked overnight, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I've always had a kind of pressing, lingering feeling that I should have amounted to more, but that's fine. That's fine.
And yes, nobody's going to deliver it in a Iron Man Ex Machina kind of way. I'm not going to get that, but that's fine. Yeah.
That's
so
fine. I'm sure that's fine.
in the
Benjamin.
yes,
Benjamin.
Yes.
I have to say, Peter Parker in this kind of rocking your look.
I do look a little bit like, not entirely. I think he's a bit more chiseled in the comic, but it's a pair of glasses. It's a rough little bedhead, a little tight beardy boy.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So look, in the grand tradition of Spider-Man's, it's on track. It's a power fantasy through and through. That is what the original Spider-Man was all the way back in 1962 with Amazing Fantasy number 15, Michael. And fantasy was in the title of his debut, Michael. It's right there. It's right there. But at the time, Spider-Man really broke the mold there in terms of putting a teenager in a suit and making him the superhero. And for better or worse, Marvel as a publishing company has attempted to recapture that teenager kind of relatability for Spider-Man to the point where they will not allow him to grow up, or they'll reset any progress that he makes at set points and more or less nerf the character, to use the colloquial language of maybe 5 years ago. They'll kind
Back
of
when you're
just
in your prime, Ben.
yeah, they'll take the web out from under him, so to speak, and he loses any solid progress that he made. There are a couple of great dark moments for Spider-Man fans where everything was going grand, and then something comes along and they just reset him to square zero, and they put him back to this schlubby, against the odds loser, for lack of a better term. We're seeing it happen in real time, Michael, with Brand New Day. So we got, at the time of recording, the trailers for Tom Holland's final Spider-Man film are making the rounds. And they did it at the end of Far From Home, or No Way Home? No Way Home.
No Way Home. Homecoming? Homecoming.
They took away every advantage that he had gained. And I don't think that's a bad thing from the perspective of the Marvel movies. And we'll get into that on this particular podcast. But anyway, Michael, they've constantly tried to reset the character. And Jonathan Hickman has gone, no, fuck that. Fuck that.
I know my audience.
I'm going to let him keep everything. And I'm going to give him superpowers.
Oh, that's what you were getting from. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So he has his supermodel wife. He has his two loving kids. He has a successful job. He has his penthouse apartment or whatever the hell it is. Uncle Ben's alive.
Yeah.
And everything is great for him. And then someone comes along and says, you were destined for even more. You were destined to be the most important boy in the universe.
Exactly. And Michael, I don't hate it. It's a fun read.
Of course you don't, Ben. Of course you don't. If you were fucking 10 years older, you would. That's all I'm saying.
But it's so interesting from that perspective. The original Spider-Man spent a lot of his time moping around saying, oh, I never get any nice women. Oh, women don't even look at me. But factually, that's not correct. Stan Lee was sticking him in a situation with a young one who fancied the pants off him every other week.
Ridiculous.
Every other week, someone was having a thought bubble going, oh, if only Peter Parker would look at me twice. And you're there going, and then it would cut to Peter Parker's bubble going, nobody ever looks at me. And you're there going, Peter, it's all in your fucking head, you little fucking incel from 1962.
1960s incel.
And
take off your sweater vest, for God's sake.
It's kind of the same thing with this. So this opens up on Peter Parker's morning routine. And Peter Parker's morning routine is to get up, go out to his two fairly sound kids.
Yeah. Well adjusted. One of them seems to be like a bookish genius.
Yeah.
The other one is a precocious two little gingers. Gets his breakfast handed to him by his highly successful former supermodel wife. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Mopes around going, oh, I've always thought I was due more. So, the entitlement of this prick.
And then gets to basically say to his wife, we need to talk, but it's not a bad thing. See you later, honey. And he skips on out of there. And then he heads to the Bugle, where he is somehow still employed as a photojournalist and making a good living.
In the year of our Lord 2024. Ben, something really interesting about this,
Yeah.
I thought about this, was the kids and Mary Jane are worried about Photoshop rather than AI. It's amazing how the world has changed so much in the 2 years since this was published.
It's funny because AI is a big part of this storyline, but AI
Yeah,
as
yeah,
comic
yeah.
books understand it, not
Yeah,
AI.
not generative AI.
as
not
generative slop.
AI coming for your jobs. Yeah. Not like the internet is ruined by just complete slop
Yeah.
content.
It's not like the AI in Peter Parker's Spider-Man helmet is going, "Hi, why don't you try punching him with your left hand?" No, he's broken
Yeah.
my hand. Oh, I see what's happened there. Why don't you try
Oh, I
punching him
hate
with your right?
I hate AI, Ben. I hate it. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Anyway,
His struggles. His struggles.
so yeah, his struggles. Yes. In this particular case, we have a different Peter Parker world. He's an older man than we normally get to see Spider-Man make it to. You said it's a reboot earlier on, but it's a reimagining of what could have happened in the Ultimate Universe, I think, as you were kind of pointing out. Because May Parker is the one who's died. Aunt May is gone.
Mm.
And Ben Parker is the one who's been left behind. And we don't maybe see explored a lot in the what ifs or the elseworlds of the world is what if Ben Parker had lived? And it turns out Ben Parker would be quite a successful newspaper editor. And J. Jonah Jameson's not a prick. And I think that's that's so interesting.
Did you ever get the feeling that this was the twist this is built around? It was like, what if a world where J. Jonah Jameson's not an asshole?
But it's so interesting because the J. Jonah Jameson, Ben Parker duo that we get in this, I quite enjoy reading about. I quite enjoy.
Yeah, they're very good. I would read a comic just about those two setting up their kind of supernatural themed newspaper.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
I genuinely would. I think it's one of the real strong suits of this, but also it gives us a real glimpse into a world without Spider-Man because J. Jonah Jameson doesn't have this focal point of hatred in his life, and he's just like,
Yeah.
Life's I'm in the newspaper business. And it's great. It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
no, they're very good.
And that's our setup, right? There's other things that happen in the issue. We get a little introduction to Wilson Fisk. There's a shadowy cabal running New York.
Just like in real life, Ben.
Yeah, Epstein didn't kill himself, Michael. That's all I'll say.
That's all you say.
That's all
on
I'll
the
say.
podcast.
But what we understand then is there's been a terrorist event. That terrorist event is to do with Reed Richards, isn't it? Is it? It's the maker.
Well,
oh no, it's
been
Iron Man.
blamed
Sorry,
on Tony
it's Iron Man.
Stunk. Yeah,
I've got
it's been blamed on Tony Stunk.
Tony Stunk.
So
Stunk
Tony
Tech.
Stunk, he's hot, rich in stonks.
Yeah.
But we as the reader know that the maker has done, or do we? I suppose there is a bit of ambiguity there.
Yeah.
But we as the reader believe. No, I think we're told kind of out of character. We're told by the preludes and stuff, the text box between issues. So I think we do know that it was Reed Richards, the maker, did it. Because Tony Stark is kind of the only one who has realized what the maker has done by depriving the world of superheroes.
Yeah.
And they go much more into this in the Ultimates comics, which I've also read, but 2 years ago and don't really remember. Tony Stark has been blamed for a terrorist attack, which has killed, amongst others, the Osborns, May Parker, and a couple of thousand other New Yorkers. Very much a 2024 allegory for the 9/11 attacks.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's quarter century later. It's an interesting reimagining on New York under terrorist attack. You don't see New York under terrorist attack that much in media anymore.
You're not really allowed to.
Are you not? Do you reckon that's what it is?
Well, it's not anymore. I think we're past that point now, but there was certainly an embargo on depictions of building terrorism for about 10 or 15 years there.
Yeah.
Brian Hitch and Warren Ellis would have been the last to do it with the Authority. I think.
Yeah.
And that was...
Well, people were famously very upset with Superman for being too soon.
Yeah.
Showing city destruction.
And then I think Invincible pretty much has a fetish for wiping out entire cities as a comic book. But
And a show. That show's been very good. We won't talk about it.
We won't talk about that, but it has been very good, Mike. We should do an episode where we talk about getting a chance to rewrite your story in a new format because, anyway, doesn't matter. That's irrelevant to this entire conversation, Michael. Michael, at the end of issue 1, it turns out that we have been reading in medias res, which we didn't understand. It turns out that the night previous to our introduction to the story, Peter Parker has received an Iron Man Ex Machina. in the form of a tiny little magic box. And I say magic, and I'll get into it in a second as to why it is. It's definitely supposed to be technology, but it's Jonathan Hickman. So he's following that bloody Asimov rule of any technology sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. And Jonathan Hickman read that when he was 5 years old and went, that's what I'm going to do. Every bit of technology that ever comes into my comics, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. And it turns out...
Bear with me a second here while I look up what's smaller than nano.
What's...
Pico.
Exactly. So we get into that idea, right? And it turns out Tony Stark's son in this reality is there, and he's saying that Dad got screwed out of a bunch of tech and the Maker stole everything, and that's our exposition. That's our introduction. And it turns out that Peter Parker's big longing to talk about this with his wife has been, I want to let this spider bite me and I want to get jacked and get superpowers, but I can't say that directly to you, so I want to make a big change. And the most unrealistic thing in 12 issues of a comic about mechs, sentient AIs, parallel universe, time resetting, the most unrealistic thing is that Mary Jane watches her husband have a midlife crisis in real time and goes, do what you gotta do, baby. And I was like, your wife would be very worried if a husband turned around on the couch and was like, there's something missing in my life despite the 2 great kids, my wonderful uncle, my great job, my smoking hot wife, my great apartment.
Supermodel wife, Benjamin. Feels like you might be telling on yourself a little bit there. No, Mary Jane is wildly understanding in this. Wildly understanding.
Wildly understanding. Not even...
Unbelievably understanding.
Not even as a sexist joke of like, oh, I can't believe it's an understanding. She's too understanding a human being. Like, it's not...
I wouldn't trust her as far as I'd throw her. She's
anyway,
so understanding and forgiving.
He makes the big decision at the end of issue 1, and we get a pretty cracking panel of a classic Spider-Man among the water towers thing, which I don't think exists in New York anymore, but in this New York they might. And there's birds. And Marco Checchetto smashes it with some of his art here. I mentioned Brian Hitch there earlier. This is like a tidied up version of the cinematic storytelling we got used to in The Authority and the Ultimates, I suppose, in their initial run.
That was Brian Hitch as well.
Yeah, that was Brian Hitch as well.
It's very much a Venom origin story again, though, isn't it? They just love it so much. Just comic book writers just love retelling Venom. Every 10 years, like, let's retell Venom, but integrate it more into the Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
It's a princess and a pea situation with comic book writers that, how are we going to get Venom into Spider-Man and have it make sense in our worlds?
Yeah.
Because we can't just have him be dragged off to a company-wide crossover and find a black suit. It has to be more personal. It has to be more there from the beginning. The black suit, which it is, doesn't become Venom in this by any stretch of the imagination. But, I mean, it is Venom then.
Oh, it's 100% Venom. And we get the seeds of Venom as a separate entity towards the end of the second volume coming into it. But we'll get into that as we go. Over the next couple of issues, Michael, what we see is some great interactions. We get to see, I think my favorite thing, right, about issue 2 of this and issue 3 is we get to see a Peter Parker learning to be a superhero, but a much older man.
Yeah, I bet you would like that.
So,
about your age, say, just roughly.
I'm just going to keep getting this. Some of my
yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm holding back, to be honest.
Some of my favorite interactions are the Shocker ones. The early Shocker interactions, because Peter Parker is a dope in the world of supervillains. And every sub story he hears, he goes, oh, I'm so sorry, man. And then Shocker's like, you fucking moron. And he blasts. And that's really enjoyable. And then Hickman does something that I think really serves the story. As early as issue 2, someone in Spider-Man's life finds out that he is Peter Parker and he is Spider-Man. And it's his daughter, May. Because he's a fucking dumbass. He goes back to his apartment in the suit that he can switch off at a moment's notice.
Just switch off. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, my child has woken up out of bed.
Oh, I've been rumbled by my precocious child genius.
Damn it. And so we see that. And I think one of the best bits of this is that it dispenses with the secret identity for close loved ones early enough in the story. And we don't have wasted panels of trying to keep it a secret or trying to hide it away from people. And it is actually quite realistic that at whatever age Spider-Man is, be it my age or otherwise, you fuck,
Exactly your age.
exactly my age, he just realizes very quickly, I can't keep this up. I cannot keep this up. Living two lives at 16, fair enough, away with you.
Yeah.
Living two lives at 35, I'm tired.
So tired. Can't keep lying to Mary Jane. She's so understanding.
He's so understanding. Yeah, so we see that happen, and then we get the introduction of the Green Goblin. And any Spider-Man fan is like, ooh, the Green Goblin. Who is it going to be this time? Oh, that's exciting.
It's Harry Osborn, anyway.
It's Harry Osborn. One of my favourite panels, I suppose, from the end of issue 2 is that thing where May draws him the little spider with her crayons. And she says, I drew a picture of your spider. I hope you like it. And it's the red and blue. And I think Jonathan Hickman and Marco Checchetto and David Messina, because they share art responsibilities, do a wonderful job of sprinkling iconic Spider-Man things in. I don't mind the Venom one. I quite like the red and blue being a child's scribbling that inspires Spider-Man, because red and blue is a weird color combo.
Weird color. No spiders like
There's
that.
no spiders that do that.
I know someone's gonna find a fucking spider that's red and blue and go, no, look, it's this spider.
No, it's this
Stan Lee
spider.
had never heard of that spider. Steve Ditko had never heard of that spider. These were just primary colors to make a cool looking character for kids.
Yeah. And then in issue 3, we get, because May knows all about this, what I really like about it is they have like a daddy-daughter kind of secret, and May helps him update his look. And we get all the iconic Spider-Mans. We get all the iconic Spider-Mans. Look at them there. Look at all the Spider-Man. There's Ben Reilly.
Spider-Man.
There's bloody kind of Spider-Man 3 Sam Raimi Spider-Man. There's bloody
Iron
Scarlet Spider, who I fucking hate.
Yeah.
This is Tony Stark Spider. This is blue. That's an Invincible nod, I think, in this one, because Invincible
very good.
owes so much to Spider-Man, and I think that's good. And then, of course, we get the iconic one, which is our red and blue Spider, and he very irresponsibly takes May out on a spin.
Good. Benjamin, speaking of costumes, the costume thing goes through some weird stages in this.
Yeah.
Ending up going from the Picotech black Venom suit to the normal looking Spider-Man suit to rejecting the Iron Spider suit that Otto Octavius designed for him, to spandex. It's a weird reverse
choice.
Progression. And kind of happens in a weird off-the-cuff way, and the spandex one is indistinguishable looking from the first one, other than it gets cut.
Yeah, it can be damaged.
He gets cut and injured more easily.
It can be damaged.
It's weird. It's a weird progression. Kind of marries with the Tom Holland one as well, though.
Yeah.
Starting with super advanced Tony Stark technology and gradually moving back towards the old fabric job.
So I think, and I'm sure some Spider-Man fans will criticize this, but Spider-Man is at his best when he does this stuff himself. For me. I won't say that for everyone. I'll say it for me. I like a Spider-Man who made his own web shooters. I like a Spider-Man who comes up with his little spider tracers that he can throw onto people. But I'm a product of the 90s animated Spider-Man era. That is very much for me my Spider-Man, where everything was techie and everything was a mech and everything was, and Spider-Man had a little tracer that he made, and Spider-Man had a little light on his belt that he could shine on people. It was like a spider signal that would shoot from his belt occasionally. And I like that Spider-Man because one of the most important aspects of Spider-Man is that he's a scientist.
He's not in this.
He's not in this. He's a photographer.
He's a photographer. He's a normal fella. He's just a normal fella.
And I think it was the detriment as well for Tom Holland Spider-Man in that Tony Stark came along and he's like, here, have a suit. Here, have this. Here, have that. And we got a glimpse of it in Homecoming where Happy turns up in the Netherlands with the ship and he has to build his own suit again. But he's just mini Tony Stark, and that's not Spider-Man either. Spider-Man is the kid sitting at a bench with a bunch of analog tools and cobbling together something functional. I don't mind organic webbing. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's fine. It makes sense as a power set, powers of a spider, yada, yada, yada. But I quite like a Spider-Man that has some tech responsibility or some ability to do that. He doesn't have it in this. He's very reliant on Harry Osborn and Otto Octavius. I don't think it's a full detriment, but I miss the ingenuity of a classic Spider-Man.
Yeah. And Ben, that panel actually where he swings off with May is the final panel of issue 6. It's the final panel of volume 1 of this story. Basically, volume 1 is here's all this stuff.
No,
that
it's
happens.
Mary.
He meets
It's
Harry.
Mary Jane in issue 6.
Oh, is it Mary Jane
Yeah.
in issue 6?
So May
Okay.
is the end of issue 2, but we get
Oh,
that
is that
iconic
2?
shot
Okay.
a bunch of times. You know,
Yeah.
Spider-Man. It's the Todd McFarlane Twisted Anatomy
Oh, yeah.
style.
It's Mary Jane christening him Spider-Man.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
The end of,
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really, I really enjoy that aspect of the Spider-Man mythos getting this. I like that he's so family orientated. I like that his family influence his decisions. I think that's very logical. I think it's in the spirit of Spider-Man where Uncle Ben's death inspired so much of Spider-Man's kind of logic in the early comics. But I like it because it's not nearly as morbid. It's not nearly as guilt-ridden, if you like, as a concept. I think that does a little bit for me. It's a very enjoyable read. I think issue 3 of this is where we get the Green Goblin introduction and the Bullseye introduction. Bullseye was such a weird fit for me here, and it felt like a Frank Miller Daredevil riff because Bullseye and Kingpin are kind of inseparable in the world of Daredevil. Bullseye is often Kingpin's, to quote this comic,
Enforcer.
killer let loose in the world.
Yeah.
And I get that it's there. I would have enjoyed seeing maybe another Spider-Man villain crop up, but I guess in terms of good storytelling, you have to build on the characters you've already introduced as opposed to introducing a whole bunch more. So we get a great action sequence of Bullseye mopping the floor with the two lads until they get one over on him.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because Harry Osborn is a playboy billionaire philanthropist, for lack of a better term.
In a suit.
And Peter Parker's a fucking photographer. You know,
I don't know what they're about.
yeah, they might not be able to take this man on and do well. But everything is a mechanized suit. Bullseye wears a mechanized suit of sorts. Spider-Man is wearing a mechanized suit of sorts. And Harry Osborn is wearing a mechanized suit of sorts. And
even Kinch Pinch.
he has enhancements.
Under skin enhancements.
Which I don't mind, because I get very tired of, oh yeah, Kingpin can take on Spider-Man. He can't. That doesn't make any sense. He's a normal human. But anyway, that's a different issue for a different collecting issues podcast.
Version, yeah.
So we get to see that, and at the end of issue 3, Harry and Peter are having a chat, and they've established each other. And then we get one of the most interesting, but I think out of place sequences that I've read in a comic book in ages.
Bloody dinner party. The dinner party.
I'm not against it, right? I'm not against
Go
it.
on.
But it's so interesting to see this level of issue. I read a really interesting analysis during the week when I was trying to get to grips with this. Early Spider-Man was a teenager with teenage problems. It was getting his course assignments in on time. It was Sadie Hawkins dance, exactly as you outlined at the start of this podcast. And now he's dealing with the social anxiety of a weird double date that your wife has put you on. Or your friend wants to introduce you to his new girlfriend. And you're like, oh, what if she's a dose?
Yeah, what if she's a dose? And a CEO.
Oh, God. And
oh, God.
Peter and Mary Jane are middle class people in this world. Well, they're upper middle class, I think, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're not billionaires. And the two of them are very apprehensive about meeting the billionaire couple and trying to make sense of that. But it's so out of place, but it complements the story that Hickman is telling underneath, which is that Ben Parker and J. Jonah Jameson are starting up their own newspaper. Corruption is rife in New York. It's everywhere. He's building that world in the background, the shadowy cabal pulling the strings in the background. What we get is, in the April issue, or issue 4, we get a bunch of 9-panel grids of 4 adults figuring each other out and putting their foots in their mouths and recovering. And I think it's well written as a sequence. Then David Messina is the person who takes over the art in this particular sequence. Interesting, but very nuanced. There's lots of little micro expressions and tweaks and stuff like that come in.
Yeah. First of all, I thought it was unusually jarring in a modern comic to get a guest artist in the middle of a run like this. Now, they call them guest artists now rather than fill-ins. And this issue, I guess, was being drawn at the same time as 5 and 6, maybe. These things need to happen sometimes. It's like having a second unit on a big TV show and say, go off and film a bottle episode in Toronto while we do the finale. I think there's some poor panels in this. There's a shocked reaction from Mary Jane, which is so off character model.
Yeah.
It's egregiously off character model that we've been seeing up to this point. I was like, who's that?
Yeah.
Who's that supposed to be? Oh, is that Mary Jane? The character designs of Spider-Man characters are that very 60s low print quality, get it out quick. One's a redhead, one's a blonde, one's a brunette.
And that's all that matters.
That's all you need to tell them
Gwen
apart.
Stacy wears a
And
green jacket and a purple shirt.
Yeah.
Mary
purple
Jane
skirt,
wears
green
pants.
jacket, yeah.
And a yellow jumper.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, never mix them up. But yeah, there was some... There's some art I didn't love in that episode. There's a lot of just people putting food in their mouth and going...
Yeah. And I think probably the worst example of it might be the bathroom square off between Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane, where they excuse themselves. And sorry, we were remiss in saying Gwen Stacy is introduced here as Harry Osborn's wife, fiance, wife,
the wife,
soon to be matrimonied or matrimonied. It depends.
No, they're wife.
And it's the love that color on you. Can I ask you something? Am I coming on too strong? Go ahead, yada, yada, yada. And it's a fascinating issue because it's no superheroics happen.
Yeah, none.
That's the issue.
Other than tolerating an evening like that, which I would find super
heroic. And I find it it's such a fine line to walk. I think they do it very well. I think it deepens the story and establishes character dynamics, but it also shifts the tone of the comic completely, in my opinion, away from a Spider-Man comic to an ensemble Spider-Man world comic.
Yeah. This is the episode really which sets out what this is going to be about. Like the first two issues are about the Parkers, but here's the story now. And like I have issue 22 of this in front of me here, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but I have issue 22 in front of me, and look at issue 22. It's still Green Goblin and Spider-Man doing whatever they're up to. So this episode this issue absolutely lays out the stall. You know what vibes I got from this? I got huge, and I don't know if it was Hickman, but this whole comic gave me the vibes of the Stormwatch reboot that we read recently. It's very much a second go around of there's nothing original really. Like a Green Goblin in an Iron Man suit. That's happened a few times.
Iron Patriot.
Iron Patriot, for example. And, in other versions, sometimes the Green Goblin technology is competitive or connected with the Iron Man tech. There's nothing terribly new in this. It feels like a tightening up. Like, I think this is a very good Spider-Man comic. I think this is a very enjoyable Spider-Man comic. Now, there are moments of, like, Spider-Man-iness that are real classic Spider-Man-iness. Like Spider-Man versus Mr. Negative in the bank heist. That's so classic Spider-Man, it's almost out of place in this modern, nuanced, mystery-led reimagining. But yeah, long story short, it really reminds me in tone and theme of the Stormwatch reboot from the last few years of let's take another crack at this universe and make all the things that we think we know part of the mystery.
And
let's
think
have characters meet each other out of sequence on unusual orders. Let's have Gwen Stacy, Peter's first love, be Harry's wife this time, and them to have never met. And it's very, very much. I'm not in any. Hickman didn't write that Stormwatch reboot, did he?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. He might have. It's a very Hickman-esque vibe.
Hold on, I have it here. It was Warren Ellis.
It was Warren Ellis.
The Wildstorm. This is what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Hickman is copying this in any stretch of the
Have we covered that on this
I
podcast?
just...
Should we?
Yeah, if we haven't, we should. If we
Yeah,
have,
okay.
then no, because we've already done it.
Michael, hold your
Right,
horses.
four
That's just
vol-
reminded me that we do this for other people. Hang on, hold on. Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
What should we be reading on this comic book podcast?
Oh, yeah,
This is
yeah.
Collecting Issues, your monthly comic book club. Have you been enjoying the episode so far? Why don't you give us a
We
fucking
have.
follow then? Go follow us.
Yeah.
We've been having a great time. That's why we forgot about you. Sorry. We do this for us.
Sorry
You're
for
welcome to
listening.
listen in, but we do this for us. So if you've been enjoying the episode so far, why don't you go on over there to YouTube, give us a subscribe if you're listening to us there. If you're on Spotify, you can watch and listen to us now on Spotify, Michael. Did you know that? We have video uploads on
Yes.
Spotify now. And
I
you
did
can
know that,
see
yeah.
us on Spotify if you like, or maybe one of our text videos if you listen to one of our older episodes from our archive series. If you can go and give us a follow, give us a listen, leave us a comment. You can leave us comments all over the place. Our Instagram is linked below in the description of wherever you're listening. All of our social medias are linked down there. There's a Substack where we write essays sometimes. Why don't you just go check those out? It's very rare, but we do them. They do pop up there every
I
once in a
don't.
while.
I don't have time.
Michael's very busy. He's a very busy man. He could never be Spider-Man on the side. He's just too busy. He's just too busy,
Just
folks.
too busy.
Yeah.
And my head is too much of a distinctive egg. People go, that's fucking Mick Leonard
That's
under that
Mick
mask.
That's him right
That's
there.
old egghead. Look at the little bits of beard sticking through. Fucking freak.
But why don't
Fucking
you,
sticky freak.
Mick Leonard, Sticky Freak, it's on his LinkedIn. Why don't you give us a follow, give us a subscribe, give us an L rating, send it to your friends if they're Spider-Man people. Sorry, Michael, for interrupting you there. That'll jump us back.
No,
in.
anyway, what I was saying was I don't think Hickman is in any way copying Ellis in this. I just think this is the current zeitgeist. It's let's mythologize and mystericize our worlds. Let's retell our stories, but with a hint of mystery and secret government goings on and
Yeah.
all this other stuff that's happening behind the scenes. This is very good, though. Let's
It
get
is.
this out of the way. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's a very good comic.
It's a
It's
fun
a very
read.
good Spider-Man comic. It's certainly more enjoyable than the current mainstream Spider-Man comics, and mercifully requires far less investment in knowing what's going on in spin-offs and
Or in the Marvel
various-
Universe at large, or in the
Yeah.
second Spider-Man
yeah.
title currently on the shelves, or the third Spider-Man title.
fourth. Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
Paul. Paul's not there. Great stuff.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, Paul is a dickhead, Michael. Have you not heard the saga of Paul? We don't have time for it on this podcast, Michael, but basically, they made Peter Parker break up with Mary Jane because she fell in love with a fella called Paul.
Oh, fuck that guy.
In an alternate dimension at a certain point in the storyline. It's fucking silliness. And that's why nobody likes Mary Jane anymore. And then she decided to break up with Paul because Paul was a loser. And she gets bonded to the Venom symbiote. So that's where we are in the current Spider-Man universe.
Right.
And when you
Okay.
hear
Yeah, that's a
that
bit
laid out, and I'm not exaggerating, that's not hyperbole, Michael. That is
Yeah.
the current existence of Spider-Man, right? And when you hear that said out loud, you understand why people might gravitate towards this simple, straightforward Spider-Man storyline.
Relatively speaking.
Relatively
Benjamin,
speaking.
Volume
Yeah.
2, anyway. Volume 2.
Yes.
More plot happens.
More plot happens. So the ultimate end to Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 1 is they take on the Kingpin and they get their fucking shit rocked.
Yeah, they get absolutely whooped.
I like what you said earlier, Michael. It's the introduction to the Parkers in Volume 1. It's meet the Parkers, essentially. And here are some other interesting people.
And the Osborns and the paper.
Yeah, and the paper. And at the end of it, Mary Jane is aware, and we get another classic Spider-Man moment, the one that you were describing to me, Michael. Another
That's the
classic
one I was
Spider-Man
talking about,
moment. Mary Jane and Peter Parker having a swing about as Spider-Man. And then what we move into then is Volume 2, The News. And Volume 2, The News, ramps up the superheroics, but it also ramps up the technology behind this new Spider-Man, right? And what I was so excited to see in this is that Hickman has laid out a golden rule for this series. And the golden rule for the series is that this is a technology-driven world. His suit is, what did you call the nano?
Picotech.
Yeah, Picotech, right? His suit is
Even
Picotech.
smaller than Nano.
Harry's got the mech. Otto Octavius is kind of introduced properly in Volume 2. We don't see that much of him in the first one. But this is a tech-driven world, right?
Dude.
And I think that's my favorite thing about Spider-Man stories. Again, I told you how influenced I was by the Spider-Man 90s series. Everybody was in a mech suit or had a new technology. But what I think a lot of modern Spider-Man writers create is not a techno nightmare. And that is, original Spider-Man was written for kids, but it's about the horror of man's scientific ambition ruining them, essentially. Every monster that Peter Parker initially encounters is a former scientist or an experiment gone wrong, or
Yeah, science freaks.
it's science freaks. Volume 2, issue 7 kicks off with this cover. Yes. So that's it there. Our introduction is Oscorp in full flow.
Yeah.
Which is Otto Octavius. And Otto Octavius he's just a creep. There's no, it's not an Alfred.
Science creep.
Yeah, it's not an Alfred Molina Otto Octavius who's kind of sympathetic. It's not a Spider-Man PS game Otto Octavius who's a mentor. He's just a little creep. Just a little creepy creep. Just a little creep. And he
looks like Enoch Burke.
standing outside Oscorp demanding to be let in. Immediately, Michael, I saw that panel that you were just showing me there where he does the little injection and I went, oh, Peter, you dope.
Yeah.
Oh, Peter, you
You
fucking
shouldn't have let him get that.
Shouldn't have let him get that. And it deepens the broader world and really kicks off that ensemble thing that was set up in issue 4. Now, Ben and J. Jonah Jameson are meeting with shady representatives. They're figuring out how to publish. Him and Harry are sparring. And it reintroduces the inferiority complex of Harry Osborn in such an interesting way.
Ben. Oh, this is one of the best scenes of the whole thing. This created a sense of dread in me that I've never experienced. Not
Yes,
never, but I've very
absolutely.
rarely experienced in comics. It's very rare to see such a well done, oh no moment. So Otto says, we can turn the AIs on in your suits. And Spider-Man's like, well, I like talking to myself and let's talk to me. So it's like, oh, well, now he's made Venom.
Now he's
given it a
made Venom.
personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's given it a personality, and that's going to come back to haunt him because this personality is going to get obsessed with him, and then you've got this Picotech black suit sentient thing. Okay, we've made Venom. Obviously, that was a mistake. And then Harry says, put my dad's voice in it, and I went,
Oh,
no! Oh, no!
Exactly.
No. That is just terrible decision making there from Harold.
And such a gorgeous nod on both fronts to all of Spider-Man's history. Because
Great.
in terms of the Venom talking to myself thing, Spider-Man is renowned for being a loudmouth. It's his whole thing in the comics. He's got quips. He talks to himself all the time. And this is a lovely tech-heavy way of doing that. Where it's he really does.
Then also making Venom.
But Norman Osborn haunting Harry Osborn is such
his own fault.
It's his own fault in this case, but it's such an established trope over the last 60 years of Spider-Man comics. Harry Osborn slowly falling to madness after the death, and I use air quote marks because Norman Osborn always comes back.
Comics.
Always comes back. But Harry Osborn falling to madness is something that we've seen done sometimes very well, sometimes terribly.
Yeah.
Across Spider-Man's history. We saw James Franco do a pretty shit job in Spider-Man 3. But also Norman Osborn talking to himself is huge. Norman Osborn suffers from a form of multiple personality disorder or schizophrenia where he genuinely is haunted by the Green Goblin persona that he created at different points. Again, done to some good effect, some bad effect, but you hit the nail on the head. I read that and went, oh no. Oh no.
This has been so nice. They've been having such a nice team up. They're on the same page.
Yeah.
They're just two men in their 30s who are best of friends. This is great. And it was like, oh no.
I read this sequence where the AI starts talking to Harry in Willem Dafoe's voice.
So
I
100%.
heard it 100%. Soft.
100%.
I always wondered how weak you were, Harry. And I was like, oh God. Why would you put that voice in?
Unbelievable.
Why the fuck would you do that?
the worst bit of decision making that happens in this entire comic.
Shocking
And then
stuff.
Iron Man shows up and goes, "Hey, I'm Iron Man," in case you guys forgot I was involved.
Yeah, and then we move into issue 8, and the Sinister Six is introduced. The Cabal is kicking it up, and he starts leaving the suit at home to look after the house. He talks to the suit as a sphere, and it's just Venom. It's just Venom. It's just a big ball of Venom.
Ben. That's Venom.
Just a big ball of
It's
Venom.
Ben.
Yeah.
No, they never say Sinister Six. They say there are 5 boroughs of Manhattan, and each of them has
And
a
the
leader.
Kingpin
but there's a
rules over
secret
all.
six.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look. These are a sinister half dozen of people, aren't they?
Just call it the Sinister fucking Six. What I like about it,
What did you like about it?
it's got some modern greatest hits in there, as well as some Ditko era greatest hits.
Mr. Negative.
Mr. Negative. The Mole Man is a nice inclusion. Bizarre
Yes.
inclusion, but a nice inclusion. The Mole Man is traditionally a Fantastic Four adversary. And and then Black Cat.
Black Cat.
I'm fascinated by this because I think that, much like myself, Jonathan Hickman has watched a lot of the animated Spider-Man shows from the 90s. I think there is a core love of that animated series running through the influence of this story. Because in that, there were constant plot lines of villainous fathers and successors. And I think that works very well because it gives a lot of depth to our characters who are also struggling with everyday normal family conflicts and weird moments and stuff like that. I thought it was done very well. Mr. Negative is there. He was kind of a breakout hit of the late 2000s. He's unusual. I've never really understood the character very well, to be honest.
He's a negative fella. He's very negative.
Yeah, he's got a lot of mind control powers, and he inverts his color scheme when he goes villainous. It's pretty good. And then we get Mysterio,
Craven, as usual.
Craven and Mysterio. That story kind of establishes I'm not going to use the suit anymore. I might use something else for a while until we figure out this tech and what it does. Iron Man comes in,
Ben.
and turns around to Harry and goes, I don't even know who you are.
Fuck you anyways.
You shouldn't
Yeah,
have my
fuck you
tech.
anyways.
Get your hands off my fucking
Yeah,
stuff.
what are you doing? And then he goes, no, it's grand, actually. Whatever.
Yeah, I'll get it back
So
when I want to.
capricious. Benjamin, issue 8 does something unforgivable, though. It does. It commits the greatest crime against me personally that you can do in comics. It teases a Black Cat character and then doesn't give us one. Absolutely despicable.
Michael, she's a child in this, so we're not allowed to have it. So you can just
absolutely straight to jail.
straight
Off they
to,
go, straight to jail.
straight
To jail.
Straight to jail. So Black Cat is the daughter of actual Black Cat, who is an old man who does it for kicks. I think is pretty much what we're
I
given.
think he's just a bit of a creep.
But what I enjoy about the inclusion of the not Sinister Six in this case
Yes.
is that they all don't like each other, and it's very fucking clear. They all have their own reasons for not getting on with each other because they're all trying to run their own little boroughs, but they also have to answer to Big Willie Fisk.
Big Willie Fisk. But Ben, here's the question then for this issue. Who's Big Willie Fisk answering to? Is that Captain Britain?
That's
that
what
Brian
I thought,
Braddock?
because he calls him Braddock, doesn't he?
I don't know if he does, or does he call him Mr. Britain?
Yeah. So I don't know what that's about, and I don't want to know. That was the most irritating inclusion for me, is that they were like, read the Ultimates
close it
to
over.
understand. And I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not
He just
leaving.
closed it over and went, well, that's none of my business.
But I did have that reaction where I was like, no, I'm not going down the Ultimates rabbit hole in conjunction with this. It doesn't need it. I refuse. I'm here for Spider-Man.
None of that.
That's what I want.
Yeah. That's
Um,
nothing to do with me. Benjamin, in all and anyways, this thing has a conceit in it of being month by month, which I quite like. I was playing with the meta nature of comics. But it does mean that the last issue, issue 12 of what we read, is a Christmas issue, which is very much a character thing.
Yeah.
But doesn't drive the plot really anywhere until the what we would call in television post-credits scene.
Yeah, I think this is a testament to Jonathan Hickman's ability to sow seeds and do a big reveal.
Okay, go on.
I did not see that coming at all at the end of that. I know that Harry is absent from the story. That makes perfect sense to me. Harry and Pete are going through some tension. He probably wouldn't go to their Christmas gig. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that made a lot of sense to me as it happened. And then the end is such a phenomenal reveal. So again, spoilers if you haven't gotten to the end of this.
Yeah, you're an hour into this podcast, though, so what do you at?
Craven the Hunter made it very clear that it was his turn. And then he says it in kind of a throwaway fashion at the end of a panel. And we don't hear from him again for nearly 2 issues. No, sorry, one. It's one issue. It's at the end of his run-in with Mr. Negative.
Yes.
Craven turns around and says, right, I'll have a look here. They're after putting Black Cat in a wheelchair. They introduce new Black Cat, his daughter. That's the panel you enjoyed, Michael.
Very hesitantly.
Yes.
No, that's not the panel I'm complaining about the tease, by the way. The cover
Yes.
of an issue shows Spider-Man battling Black Cat. And then
Horseshit.
you open it inside and it shows it again.
Absolute horseshit, Michael.
Non-existent. Yeah.
The cover of Volume 2 uses that as Volume 2. They don't interact. They don't even
They
speak.
don't interact at all. She's in one panel.
She's in one panel looking awkward in a catsuit because her dad has dragged her in front of 5 other men and said, "This is my daughter in a very tight skin revealing catsuit." I would also awkwardly stand there and be like, "Oh, Jesus, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah, I did when that happened to me.
Don't show me off to your mates, Dad."
Ugh.
Like, gross. Anyway,
Ugh.
that ensemble thing happens. There's a whole arc in between there. We don't really have time to cover it, Michael. We're already nearly at maximum capacity. Insane stuff.
Yeah.
The paper kicks off.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
They publish their expose. They put everyone at risk, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
But we also get the very dangerous billionaire confronts J. Jonah Jameson and Ben Reilly. And Osborn is willing to, I think, kill both of those men to sort
No,
out.
I don't think so.
You don't reckon?
I don't think he's quite there yet. Is his dad in the suit by that stage? He is, isn't he?
He is, yeah, he's in the helmet, you see. So he's there
yeah, he
coaching
might be
him.
heading there, yeah.
But anyway, we hit that ensemble cast vibe in the final issue of Volume 2, where it's the Christmas party, but this time it's drawn by Marco Checchetto, so it's a little less jarring. There's a few issues by David Messina again in Volume 2. He loves a heavy ink.
I think he's fine. I think it's fine. I just think it's just very jarring in issue 3 because it's such a tonal shift. There's no action. It's just character portraits. And that's a jarring time to introduce a new artist.
Yeah. I agree.
Do you get me? Like, I wouldn't have noticed it if it was an action-heavy issue, for example.
One of the things that we get introduced here is they broaden out the cast massively. We meet Mary Jane's sister, mother, and aunt, and they are all forced to interact. Mary Jane's sister is a ghoul. Her mother's a man-eating ghoul. Like, it's just...
All right, tell us what you feel about women then. Go on, straight
No,
away, yeah.
her aunt is lovely. But, like, these are the personas that we're introduced to. Her mum is not nice to her. Her mum is not supportive of her. Her sister seems to undermine her at every possible opportunity until they have a heart-to-heart at the end. And I enjoyed it. It was well done. But I did find myself going, what the fuck? What's happening now?
Let's get a move on here.
Until I realised...
Let's get a move on.
Yeah. Until I realised what's been set up is a lovely family moment for the horrific reveal that the Peter Parker that we've seen only in glimpses of this issue isn't Peter Parker. It's the suit mimic him because that's what he was told to do.
Yeah. Very Venom.
And it's terrifying. It's an awful scene. And we get the final panel. We get the most venomish reveal going.
Yeah.
The tendrils.
Look at that. It's Venom. It's
And
Venom,
then we
yeah.
get this. Merry Christmas. Ew. Ew,
Yeah.
ew, 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 ew. We get a cool ending quote, which is fear is knowing it can all be taken away. And we get the epilogue, which is Craven the Hunter being a dick.
Such a dick. Benjamin,
Yeah.
one of the most fun things about any Spider-Man reboot is getting to play the with great power comes great responsibility bingo.
Yes.
Because you never know who's going to say it in any given reboot.
Who says it
And in
here? I
this
can't
one, they
remember.
picked a very it's Harry. It's Harry who says it in this one, as part of inspiring Peter when he's getting into the whole I'm just a dude in a suit, you've got powers, and with great power comes great responsibility. Very fun. But you know what was very sad about this? I don't know if it's on the collected digital edition that you have there, but in the published individual editions, so many comic book creators died during the run of this comic.
It's not
had
covered
such-
in this. Not covered in this.
Is it not? It's in the single issues. Fully half of the single issues start with a 2-page tribute to a dead
That's mad.
comic book artist or writer. And it happens, I suppose, because the boom in comics brought men in their 20s and 30s into comics 40 years ago, and they're hitting 50s and 60s and 70s now. And I've forgotten that John Cassaday had died, for example.
Yeah.
Opening and John Cassaday was one of my favorite artists growing up. Huge fan of Planetary.
We've done an episode on Planetary. We might dust that.
Massive John Cassaday fan, and just being reminded that he had passed, it was startling, especially when it's every 2 or 3 issues that there was a new homage to a dead creator. Very, very tragic. But it's not in the collected edition, you say? It's only in the singles?
No, not in the collected edition. There's no nods out of the time.
I suppose, not as timely, I suppose.
Yeah,
very, very strange, very upsetting. Anyway, Ben, great comic.
Great
I thoroughly
comic.
enjoyed it.
I'm glad we went for the full 12 issues. I think it adds a bit more meat onto the bone.
Volume 1 might be a little light. It's just a kind of weird retelling of Spider-Man's origin, Volume 1.
It's a setting out of the stall, I think, Michael, in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really enjoyed, actually, which we don't talk about very often, they do the variant covers at the back of each collected issues, Michael. And there's some
very good.
Spectacular variant covers for this one. Ben Harvey's is a particular favorite. It's kind of like an Alex Ross-esque.
That's very Alex Ross.
Gig.
Yeah.
But with a bit more dynamism than we would traditionally see from Alex Ross in terms of superheroics.
How very dare you.
I'll get over it. There's another one from Jose Maria Casanovas, which is very interesting. Some great, vibrant, interesting tellings and stuff like that. Yeah, look, any standout panels for you? Anything that really, really cemented this as a solid one for you?
We've already talked about it. Harry making the decision to put his dad in
Yeah,
the suit
it's easily one of the best bits. Easily one of the best
just
bits.
Incredible. Just dreadful decision making all around.
Yeah, I think the tech for me is great. I like all the technologically driven things because I think that's core to Spider-Man as a character. I really enjoyed all that. I enjoyed the final showdown with Kingpin in Volume 1. I thought
He gave him a whooping.
Yeah, I thought the enhancement was a little bit anime or a little bit manga for me, but
right.
I thought it did a great job of cementing or re-cementing the notion of Kingpin as an absolute menace. Everybody thinks that they can just take on the Kingpin, and they are sorely mistaken at every turn. It's a fun retelling. I think it does a great job of laying out a new story for new readers, but it also has so many lovely, sensible nods for long-time Spider-Man fans. They don't feel shoehorned. I think Jonathan Hickman and Marco Ticena do a nice job of recognizing the history of such a long-standing character, such a long-standing popular character as well. And ultimately, I like
this fella here
doesn't, that guy right there, I like that it doesn't wallow in the misery of Spider-Man. Yes, things go wrong. Yes, there are trials and tribulations, but it's not 3 issues of, oh God, my life's dreadful. God.
I haven't got any money and I'm out of web fluid.
And I can do without that in modern Spider-Man comics. I'm happy to see this as the retelling of that. Anyway, Michael, once again,
go on.
We do this on a podcast. So what did you think, listener?
I just spent an hour. Oh, the listener. Sorry, I thought you meant me because I just spent an hour talking about what I thought.
The listeners. What did you think of this? This is coming out a little bit later than April, but this was our April book club pick. Give us your thoughts on it. This month, in the month of May of 2026.
Hold on, shut up for
Michael.
a second. I want to do a joke.
Go on.
It was late because Ben was captured by Kraven the Hunter, and he's been chained up in the basement for the last 2 weeks.
Folks, it's been an
no
ordeal.
one noticed.
It's been
no one noticed.
Michael,
the
my
golem
feelings.
he made of himself has been filling in for him nicely.
Michael, my
Anyway,
feelings. The AI that I created did a good job. AI Ben, Slop Ben, as it's called. But come here to me.
Yes.
May is a month of many comics. We'll be covering Weatherman from Image Comics. We'll be doing volume 1 of The Weatherman from Image Comics, which is a mad little Space Odyssey with bounty hunters and Blade Runner vibes and a bit of cyberpunk. There's all kinds of things happening there. That'll be one of our mini episodes for May. And then our primary read, our big chungus, as it were, of May. We're coming back to Denise Camp, Michael. We can rebrand this podcast to the Denise Camp Fan Club.
Yay.
But we're doing a
I
sort
hope
of
he's
crisis.
not a bad egg, Ben. I hope he doesn't do something.
He hasn't been so
We
far.
have to-
He's pretty sound.
Good.
He reposts a lot of
All
our
right.
stuff. I like him.
Good. Okay. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes. We're doing Assorted Crisis Events, Volume 1, taking a look at the breakaway hit that is the alternate timeline, timey-wimey chaos anthology series. A bit like Twilight Zone meets Infinite Crisis, if you want to think of it that way. That
Ben.
is our May read, yes.
Tell the listeners to go listen to the archive episodes that you're updating.
Yes.
There's a gas crack.
So the other thing that we're doing is
gas crack, Ben.
we've been running this podcast a long time. This is the second iteration of collecting issues. Technically, we started collecting issues all the way back in 2019. When pre-COVID, Michael, could you imagine such a thing? We started it
Different world.
as a nice little side project on our previous podcast, which was Sure Look, Sure Listen. But what I'm doing is I'm going through the archives, I'm tidying them up. We've covered a whole host of comics, classics, new wave, modern greatest hits, loads of stuff covered in the original run of collecting issues. I'm tidying them up and I'm reissuing them over time. One that you might enjoy if you're a Spider-Man fan is that I remastered Kraven's Last Hunt. It's down there in the description. Go give it a listen. And I'll be uploading the video to that later this week because I never did a video with my initial republish, and it's going to be coming out pretty dang soon.
And I've been listening to them. That's how long it's been since we've done them. I'm listening to them and going, there's some interesting points that these two young gentlemen are
That
making.
I had at one point in existence and no longer
I don't
have.
remember ever thinking that, so it's a whole new experience for me.
So join us for the existential crisis that is revisiting your older self in only a way that the digital era can deliver. It's bizarre. Anyway, that's it from us for this episode. Please join us on our next one. Bye-bye.
See you later, alligators.
That's me web shooting.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.